Alright, everyone, welcome to today's recap. I hope you all are doing well and staying blessed. If you guys are new here, my name is Jeremiah and I am a small cap stock trader. Today is a break even day. As you guys can tell by the title, I went from green to break even, which is unfortunate, but sometimes that happens. And it happened in two trades. So I worked my way all the way up to $30 or $27 to be exact, which would have taken me out of drawdown and given me $17 on the top of on top of that. So almost three times what I lost yesterday I made, but I gave it all back in two trades. Realistically, yeah, two trades are what took most of my profit, which is unfortunate. But I positioned myself in a poor way at the end, and so it's my fault. And the second trade I took after that first big loss was completely a revenge trade. So definitely on me. And it's unfortunate that it is a break-even day because yesterday was a red day and I haven't made a lot of progress, obviously. But it's better than a red day, I suppose. But with that, let's take a look at my first two trades here. I didn't get the recording of these, but I do remember what trades I took. So I traded BTBD. This stock has a float of 3.15 million shares. Um, I took a dip off of 250 here, so it broke above 250, and as it came back down and I saw it holding, I took a trade right there, and then I sold at 261. So from 251 to 261, 10 cents a share, not bad at all on 40 shares, was about $4. So nice little green trade there. And the next trade I took was a dip on this red candle here. So we dipped down for a second. I bought the dip at 60, and then it popped back up to 64, and I jumped right back out. I think we had news on this. I can't remember correctly if we did. Yeah, BT Brands announces merger partner Aero Velocity has entered into strategic partnership with AC Future, blah blah blah. Anyways, a merger, so not bad. Doesn't sound too bad, but this thing rolled over right after, and I stopped trading it after that last trade right there. And so the next stock I traded was ROLR. This stock had news of something about becoming a part. They like confirmed a deal about joining the uh, what do you call it? Speculative markets. So they had news come out a while ago about this, and it actually popped up. I don't have the chart pulled up, but it popped up a while ago, and it made a huge move from $2 to about 30. Um, and then they made a secondary offering, and then it sold off a little bit. But now the float is 4.6 million shares, and it popped up here on news about Um, they execute the definitive agreement with Crypto.com to enter over $1 trillion US prediction market opportunity. I was a little skeptical about this at first because they tried to say $1 trillion US prediction markets, and they're just using those keywords to make it sound better than it really is. And it feels like they're just reusing the same headline they used before. But obviously, this thing made a really nice move today. So we'll take a look at this. It starts to pull away here. I was still looking at the bid and the spread, and I didn't like how there wasn't that many people on the bid, and I don't like that the spreads are sort of big as well. Um, but I did end up taking a dip right there, and this ends up struggling a little bit, which is not good. But I sold it for a loss. Yeah, this one was a loss actually. Sorry, I thought I held this one for longer, but yeah, that one ended up being a loss. Not the biggest loss in the world, so it was fine. And I sort of FOMO'd in here. This one wasn't a great setup, honestly. Got in really high. I was getting in at 51, which technically would have been resistance at that time. It's not like it was holding 50. And I sold that one for a small loss as well. So that was 6 cents a share I lost on that. But I did take one more trade here in a bit. So this next trade, I feel like this one was also kind of a Hail Mary because it's not usually a setup I take. Um, it doesn't look like a setup I would take. I usually do take a setup like a dip off of VWAP, but this is very, it looks pretty bearish in the way this candle closed, but we do have that bottoming tail, which is helpful. And I end up making some profit on this one actually. So I end up going back to break even on this stock, so that was good. I jumped back in for the break over the high of day, sort of a really high entry. Uh, Not really the best trade at all, but I felt like we could pull away some more here, and I just wanted to give it a shot. So I sold that for a little bit of profit there, about 8 cents. I jumped back in on a dip there. This was a better trade. I like this one much more. I do love my dip and rips or micro pullbacks, whatever you like to call them. But this one, yeah. So I got filled there on the ask, making 5 cents, so a share. So not bad. Now I was up $11 on the day. I'd made back what I had lost yesterday, so I was feeling good at this point. And I wasn't sure whether I should walk away yet or not because this thing, I had a feeling we could go a little bit higher. So as this next candle opens, it pops up for a second, and I'm thinking I'm not going to take that, but I will take a dip. And so I jump in there on the dip and get a nice trade there. That was for about 19 cents. Not a bad trade at all. Could have held it for a little bit longer, but I think I sold it at a decent price. It started to struggle around here, so I think selling around that area was fine. So this next trade, I don't honestly know. I think I was just going for a dip as it started to pull away. It's risky for sure. I think this one ended up being a loss, to be honest with you. Or I sold it for a small winner. Oh, this one actually. Um, so yeah, it was a small loser actually. For 3 cents a share, so not bad. But it does end up curling up once more, or actually a few times. And I do take an entry right here. I'm not sure what the entry was, but it was touching the high of day, and I didn't want to get exactly at the high, so as soon as it dipped down, I jumped in. I don't think there was a real setup there. I think it was just me wanting to jump in because it looked bullish, and I was like, if I don't want to get in at the high, but I'll get in on a dip. So I don't think there was a real setup. I just wanted to get in, and I just didn't want to get in at the high. That's all I was thinking there. Not really thinking of a setup per se. So I guess you could say that was a little bit of FOMO, but at least I didn't jump in as it was like pulling away and get caught in a huge topping tail. So we have a doji candle here, and now I'm not really sure about it. So I end up taking another trade here. This one was the breakthrough 850, and I was looking for 950 on this one. Um, and it starts to struggle immediately. So I was kind of thinking like, okay, if I can just get out of here, break even, or even a little bit of profit, I mean, I'd be happy with that, to be quite honest with you guys, because I'm in the red more than I have profit at some point, or at a few points in this trade. And so I'm kind of just like, I'll be happy to just get out. But I did say before I was looking for 950 here. This was a daily level, so it was 1006. Um, and then I do sell that one, I guess, for maybe a loss or. So I sold that one for a small loss for 7 cents, but I jumped back in right after. So if I just waited a second and then it starts to reject, and now I'm like, in my head, I'm like, there's no way I just did that. So now I'm going red on this stock, and now I'm a little bit scared. If I just held my initial position a little bit longer. But that might not even be the worst part because I was looking for 950, but I didn't even let it pull away really to 950. So we pop up here, a nice squeeze. I try to get filled on the ask. And I think that's a natural instinct for me to just jump in there on like to send my order out on the ask as soon as it pops up, which is not a really good habit, to be quite honest with you, because here's the thing, it went to where I was thinking it would go, 950, had I held, you know? There's no sell indicator right now. Maybe I could take profit at 9 and then add back as it dips down. But it ends up playing out the way I expected it to. And it keeps going and it breaks through 950 and goes to 970. I could have had $1 a share of profit on that trade had I just stuck to my original plan. But it was what it was, and that was it. I was up $23 at this point, so it was a pretty nice green day. It was or 24, I guess. I ended up giving a little bit back shortly after this. All right, so I do take another trade here. I probably would have taken this dip and rip here had I been ready, but I think I was just laying in my bed, unfortunately. So there was about 20, 30 cents I could have gotten out that. Realistically, probably would have got like 25, maybe. The low was 28. The open was, yeah, I probably would have got like 30 cents. I don't know, actually. Maybe I would have held for longer. Who knows? But we close in a decent way, actually. So I do end up taking this next dip and rip here, or micro pullback. And immediately, I'm pretty much in the green. I got a really nice entry there. The low was 55. I got in at 61. And that was a 10-cent trade. So it was started to struggle, and I sold it. So I think that was the right decision. At this point, I was up $27.14. I think this was the peak of the day. And so here's where I started to make stupid trades, to be quite honest with you. I was going, I jumped in there at the high, like at the exact high, and I was looking for the breakthrough 75 because I think at the back of my head I was thinking about that trade where I didn't hold it from 850 to 950. And so I jump in here. And so this is the first loss I take, I believe. Or no, this may have been. So actually that ended up being more or less of a break-even trade. Or lost 2 cents on it, so not too bad. Now up 26 cents. I mean $26, 50 cents a share on the day. And so it did end up going to 75 like I originally expected. And now I'm feeling like an idiot for doing the same thing twice. And I just jump in at the high. What was the entry? Targeting 1270, 447 maybe, I don't know. And this is where things just go south. I should have sold it. Should have just sold it as soon as it rejected. This is a red shooting star already. Why didn't I sell it once it went red? Because I had held previously in the day and it worked, and so I could hear myself saying, no, don't do that. But I should have sold it. I could have sold it right here and I still would have made back what I lost yesterday. But I still would have been up more than what I lost yesterday. But now I'm up $7 or about 8 almost. And so I'm just like, geez, dude, seriously. So what is this trade? I don't know. It's not close enough to the 9 EMA. The 9 EMA is at 11.07. That's 24 cents lower, or 20 cents lower. 11.03. And I have a chance to get out here break even, but I don't take it. Or actually, not even break even. I'd be up, bring me back to, yeah, I have a chance to get a little bit of profit there, and I don't take it. And so what happens? I stop out when it starts dropping. When the time to stop out was either in the green or when I was just down a little bit. Same with the trade before. Interesting, because sometime, like most of the time, I'm able to just cut it immediately as soon as it's not working. Before in the day, I was able to just cut those immediately. But because I missed this trade here, I felt like an idiot twice in a row where I was like, you know what, I think it's gonna go to the daily level, exactly the daily level. I don't wait. I wasn't patient. It goes exactly where I think it's gonna go, and then I take a FOMO trade because I'm like, well, I gotta make up for the opportunity I just missed out on. Next thing you know, it starts rejecting, and I'm like, I don't want to accept the loss. I don't want to accept it. As soon as it turns red and starts dropping, I don't want to accept it, and ends up giving back all of my profit. So that's just the reality of, you know, getting stubborn. That's how you can go from green. I got myself out of the hole, and then I dug it right back up. So it's unfortunate. I tried to buy again. Thank God that I didn't have buying power to keep trading. Because the thing is, they have just announced actually that the PDT rule is going to be changed to a minimum of $2,000 instead of 25,000. So I'll be well above that, and so I'll be able to trade as much as I want. I'm grateful for today that I got to learn this lesson before that change, because God forbid on a day like this I go from green to red. I mean, from green to break even to red. That's what happened the other day, and at least this is a step up. I went from green to break even, so that means the next day it's just supposed to be green. But we'll see. I'm really hoping I stick to that. Stick to not trading after I've broken my rules or I've given back profit. Because once I've given back half, that's it. That's all I can do for the day. I'm done. And it's frustrating because I worked the whole day to get that $27 just to give it, I mean, half of it back in one trade or more. I don't know. How much did I get back in that? Realistically, um, so that first trade, yeah, I gave back a decent amount. So where was it at half? It happened pretty quickly, in fairness. But it turned red there. I could have sold it right there. That would have been about, what, 1/4 of my profit on the day, $7. So, you know what? It's like, maybe just be quicker next time. But, anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something from this. I hope you found this valuable. If you guys did, I would really appreciate if you guys hit that like button and subscribe button. And with that, I will see you all in the next one. Peace.